Hey everybody, my name is Teresa and this is Love Over Fear, where we talk about foster care, connection, parenting, educating, all of that good stuff, and even some hacks hopefully thrown in there. So if any of that is interesting to you, please like or subscribe. And today we're going to talk about 10 ways that you can get involved in foster care. So I have this question a lot of people saying different variations of, I don't feel like we're in a place where we can foster right now, but I wish that there was something we could do. And there's actually a ton of things that you could do. So have no fear. This is 10 things. I separated it into two sort of categories. One that's more supporting the whole foster family, and one that is more directly supporting foster youth. So I have notes here again, so I will be looking down occasionally, no problem. First thing, there are a lot of like Facebook groups and things like that for local foster parents to join. You can join those groups to get in contact with foster families, or you might have foster families in your church community or in your friend group that you maybe don't even know about yet. Also, there are, in a lot of states, I know in the state that I'm in, a lot goes through foster care agencies. And so you can connect with a foster care agency to get connected to foster parents. So right off the bat, some ways to connect with foster parents, because we can be an elusive bunch, and I know that. So the first thing, the way you can help, and this is a really big deal. These are all mostly equally important and very much a big deal. As a foster parent, I can tell you, it is the people who have surrounded me who have kept me from burning out and giving up. Every single time that I've been close to that, it's always been people who've come in and supported, who've helped me to keep going. So this is not nothing, right? I'm sorry, this chair is really uncomfortable and I wish I would have picked a different place to sit, but I didn't. So we're gonna make it work. Okay, number one, meal trains. Okay, especially when you have new placements coming in. So when a foster family is getting new children coming into their home, imagine it very much like when you bring a new baby home from the hospital and people do meal trains and help come and support that first little bit. That same thing is really needed for foster parents as we're trying to figure out how to juggle everything. There's a lot of appointments and a lot of things that have to happen in that first 30 days. And the more time that we can spend connecting with the children in our home instead of having to worry about this, that, and the other, the better. So meal trains where they don't have to cook, even if you just bring here's a bunch of snack food, or here's some easy breakfast foods. It doesn't even have to be big dinners. Everything is helpful. Gift cards to restaurants are helpful, or fast food is helpful. All of that is helpful. Anything in the food department, wonderful. Another thing that's amazing, especially at that beginning time, or in times of transition where, let's say, they've just started doing visits with their biological family and that's a hard transition for kids. Even though the visits might be wonderful, it's a hard transition. That would be a time to step and be like, hey, do you want me to bring pizza for dinner or something like that? Or errands. Another thing is errands. Running errands, especially again early on when it's like, hey, they're coming in 2 hours. Can you go to Target and pick up, if you think of a 7-year-old girl, just some basic things, right? I like to have a lot of that in a order. So either like a Walmart order or an Amazon order or a Target order, but it's saved on my phone to where it's basically the exact same things that they get to start off, just so I don't have to think about it. And it's like, okay, this is what they're getting. But anyway, going off on a tangent. Errands are really important, and so is meals. So just being able to provide that, do you need me to run to the store and get milk for you? Do you need me to run to the store and pick up size 6T pajamas or something like that? That kind of thing is helpful. Another thing that's really a way that you can serve. Okay, so number one is meal train and errands for a foster family, even if it's just one. And you might only be doing it 2 weeks a year, right? It's still super helpful. So the other one This is a really big one. If you are a type A personality, if you're the kind of person who finds yourself researching everything to death and needing to know all the things about all the things, there's a spot for you to help foster parents, foster families, foster youth. And that is in the realm of researching providers. It is so helpful, especially if you end up with a situation where your foster child, okay, let's say you have a foster child who comes to you and they have a list of allergies and they have like an EpiPen that's 3 years old and you're not even sure what the allergies for sure are or what the reactions are, and it's a very weird thing, and you're like, I need an allergy specialist doctor. Passing that off to a friend of, hey, do you mind spending like 15 minutes researching allergists? Is that what they're called? I don't even know. In my area that take Medicaid, and let me know who to get a referral to. Or, hey, can you look, this is the list of early intervention providers. Can you just like look into them and see what's the difference or who you would recommend to be a speech for this kiddo? If you have an adult that you trust who can do that for you, it is so helpful because it's just a mental load that you won't necessarily have when you need it. And so you're likely to make decisions that are like, I don't even care, whatever's the easiest, because you don't have the mental space to take the time and to find what would actually be best. So you might be driving 20 minutes to a speech therapist when there was one that was 2 minutes from your house, or one that did in-home therapy, but you didn't know because you just picked the first thing and moved on. So it's stuff like that. Researching for you, daycares, anything like that, anything you can offload is just so helpful. Another thing is to help you do paperwork. If you have, my sister has helped me do this before. She literally just helped me fill out paperwork. It's like, this is, just the basic name, address, this kind of thing. She just filled it out for me and so I could submit it. It was just helpful. It's little things like that that you're like, oh, that's eye rolling, but it is helpful. I'm telling you, it is a helpful thing. So number 2 would be help with research and paperwork or things like that. Huge, huge, huge. Number 3, that's going to be help with transportation. If you have a foster family or a couple foster families that you're like, hey, I can help with transportation. Maybe that means I can pick them up from daycare. I can pick your kids up from school on this day if you need me. Or I can help take them to their therapies or any of that. I can help take them to soccer practice. My kid is playing soccer with your kid. I can take your kid to soccer practice. Like, those kind of things are very helpful, especially if you have a lot of children, if you're doing sibling sets, or if you just have a lot of kids. They all have appointments, they all have schedules, and it gets really overwhelming. I've had children who have 4 or 5 therapies a week, every week, and that's one child. And so it is hard, it is overwhelming. And so just being able to offer, I can literally just take them to daycare, I can take them to school, I can pick them up from school, any of that. That's so helpful. That's a huge blessing to a family. So not being afraid to offer stuff like this because it's needed. I'm telling you, as a foster parent, we need these things. Help, okay? So the other thing, number 4, it would be discounts or services. So this can be, let's say you have an Etsy shop and you say, like, if you post your certification, your license, all foster parents have license that they have, you send us that and we'll give you 10% off. And that's a way to support foster families, right? Or you're a hairstylist and you say that you do foster children, you can do like hair treatments for X% off. Or let's say you prioritize something like ethnic hair and you're willing to offer a class to foster parents how to take care of different ethnicities' hair. That's huge. These things are so important. It's such a gift, and it's a way of having whatever it is that you do, your services that you're already doing, just have a nod towards either just foster youth or foster families by offering different services or discounts or things like that. I think that's wonderful. Number 5 is kind of on the same realm of offering services. It is babysitting. Offering babysitting. A lot of times you can do babysitting without certifications, but even when you are being certified to babysit foster children, it's usually just a background check. So it's very low cost to you, and it's huge. So even having like, hey, once a month, I will come to your house for 4 hours and let you go out on a date, right? That is a gift. Or having even just a mom's morning, right? Where it's like, you're going to be here and you can go take a nap and I will take care of the kids or something like that. Babysitting is huge. It's very helpful. And that's another way that you can support foster families that is really needed, you know? Or offering to do one-on-one time with a kid, especially if it's like an older youth. Sometimes you can say like, hey, I'll take them out for ice cream or something like that, and kind of step into the role of more like an aunt or uncle or a cousin or something like that, and just be another person who's willing to be in their corner and form a relationship with them. So on that same vein, you can be kind of going into that being an aunt, uncle, mentor type person. That's really number 6, is you could be a mentor or a tutor. And this is especially wonderful if you have like some understanding of where they're coming from. Let's say you are a former foster youth. Let's say you do understand what that's like. To be able to come alongside and be like, I get it, but you can be okay. You know, that's huge. So stepping up for just the foster youth, offering to be a mentor, getting connected with agencies. The YMCAs usually have mentor programs, things like that, to check in your local area. I know where we live, there is a mentor program for foster youth. And so having that is very helpful. Or being a tutor, which is also huge, because especially if you have insecurity of your home environment, your ability to learn is usually not there. If you've been bounced around from home to home, your ability to settle in and learn is not there. So then you're behind in school, and it just becomes this one thing after another snowball of problems. And being able to offer some tutoring that is understanding and trauma informed would be amazing. It'd be an amazing way to help children in foster care. Number 7 is you can be what's called a CASA, or a guardian, or a GAL, I guess, guardian ad litem, or court-appointed special advocate, I think is CASA. It depends on where you live, what it's called, but it's the same thing. It is a person appointed by the court, usually volunteer, to advocate for the best interest of the child. Now they go to court and speak on behalf of the child, and they really walk alongside of them. Even if they go to a different foster family or something, your guardian stays with that child, knows more about what's going on, and helps to communicate with all of the people involved and ultimately advocate for what's best for that child. It's an amazing way to advocate for children, to be in that world without actually doing the day-to-day of foster parenting. Number 8 is you can do something called emergency, overnight, or respite foster care. So this, you will be going and getting a license and you will be a foster parent. But what you can do is something called overnight care, where you're only watching children usually from like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. You'll have a child come stay the night with you and then leave. Or emergency, which is typically they first come into care, and you will be the first place that they go until they find a permanent home for the children. So it's typically, maybe up to a week. You also have respite, which is when they are in a foster home, and for whatever reason that foster home needs to have babysitting, basically, that is more than a couple of days, they can go into respite. So maybe they need to go out of town for a funeral, but the child can't go out of town with them, or has a visit, or has something that they can't miss. So you would call respite, or sometimes you need a break to get your bearings, and you might call respite or something like that. So respite providers are always in high demand. They are amazing, and they are a vital resource for foster families. So if that's the place that you would want to go, there's a big need for all three of those. Number 9 is going to be your long-term foster. So those are your foster parents who take children from the time they come into care until the time they get to be reunified with family or find whatever their permanency option is. You can choose as a foster parent whether or not you want to move forward with adoption if TPR was ever granted, but you don't have to. You could say, I only foster, right? But you would be fostering for whatever that time is. So it might be 2 months, it might be 6 months, it might be 18 months, it might be 3 years, and then they go home. So that is your day-to-day. You become mom or dad for that child for however long they're in care. And then the number 10 way to support youth in foster care is adoption. There are medically fragile children, there are sibling sets, there are older children who are currently right now orphaned and need an adoptive family to step up for them. And if that's what you're called to do, then that's an amazing way to serve and to give these children a forever family. So those are 10 ways that you can be involved in foster care, and I hope that you can pick at least one of them and do something. Even if you know a foster mom, go get her a Starbucks. If you know a foster dad, maybe mow the grass for him one day. Bless my husband's heart. Last summer we had 3 children come to us, and we had 5 under 6, 7, 5 under 7, and it was tough keeping our grass mowed all summer. So that's an amazing way to support. It does not have to be something you do all the time. It doesn't have to be high commitment. Anything is better than nothing. There's something all of us can do to support these children and these families. And I hope that you found this interesting, informative, inspiring, or that you even made it through the video, because it is actually 17 minutes at this point. So wow, I talk a lot. Anyway, have a great day. Good luck on your journey. Remember that you are loved, you are worthy of good things, and you, my friend, are not alone. Bye.